Hi, Carrie. This is Sharon Mistretta, and this is an explanation of the analysis that I have done of my quantitative data. And I have run the data through SPSS, and I wanted to just give you some background information so that once we need to chat about this, you'll have some of the background information about the STEM survey. So I conducted my intervention, my study during the month of October and the beginning of November. I did do a purposeful recruitment of students so that I had more girls than boys. So it turned out that I had 11 girls and 7 boys. So I had done the STEM survey to the students. Now there's 2 versions of the STEM survey that I did gain permission to use, and they're the 4th through 5th graders and the 6th through 12th graders. It's the exact same survey questions, it's just the Lexile score is different for readability. So the 4th through 5th graders took one survey and the 6th through 12th graders took another. I merged the databases so that I have it in one database. So I wanted to just explain to you that there are questions that I call chunks of questions. So there are certain questions of math attitudes, science, they put engineering and technology together, and 21st century learning, which is essentially teamwork and working well with others. What I did was I worked on the database such that I did a transform of the math questions that were negatively worded. So I did the transform that I found actually in a YouTube video as to how to change that so that I'm comparing everything in the same way of my items. So there were 3 that I had to transform in math attitudes, and then there was 1 in science. The others did not have a negatively worded item, so I was able to use those straight away. So here is my database, and this is the combined database. You're going to see that I have 17 surveys because one young lady came in the very beginning of the intervention, then didn't show up for a while, and then came in the end. So Dr. Abel suggested that I don't use her data. So this is the data for the post intervention, the post STEM attitudes. And so therefore I have 17 data points. And what I wanted to show you was that I did work on my variables such that here is the question 1 of math, the question 3 and question 5. So what I did was the transform, recode into different variables, and then switched the reverse order of the Likert scale, which was 1 to 5, but I flipped it so that everything was in a positive standpoint. So I did that for 3 math variables and 1 science variable, so that when I calculated the mean of what I call the math segment of the information, the chunk of information for math, I used the reverse variables in my mean calculation. So I was able to place the mean math in a variable. I did the education and the engineering and technology in another mean. And the way that I had done that was I did a transform and a compute variable. So I was able to do that with that function of SPSS. I also did, let's see, so the chunks are the engineering and technology, 21st century learning, science, and math. Those are the ones that I then used as an average. I took those means and then averaged them into what is one STEM attitudes variable that I can then use for correlations with gender. I also selected agentic careers. In the survey, it did an inquiry with the students as to whether they were interested in physics, whether they were interested in engineering. So what I did was I took the math intensive careers and I bundled them into what I call agentic careers, because I'm interested to see if the females are interested in those careers. So I did a mean of the agentic careers. And so now I have my data view here and my output. So I did a correlation, and what I did with the correlation is, go back over to here, I did analyze, correlate, bivariate. I did gender and agentic careers, and I did a Pearson two-tailed. And I checked off flag significant correlations. So what occurred was that in the correlation with gender for agentic careers, SPSS did find a significant correlation at the 0.05 two-tailed level. So as I had said in the beginning, the purpose of this video is just to give you that background information. And then I was going to bundle this video into an email to you so that you can watch it at your leisure. And then we can make an appointment that once you have this background information, then you and I can discuss what other tests should I run? What other things should I be looking for? So thanks very much for your time, and I'll send this on to you. Thanks, Carrie.